Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video on Manhwa Recap. Today, we're diving into a series of hilarious and unexpected situations that are guaranteed to keep you entertained from start to finish. Before we begin, if you enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. And if there's anything you think can be improved, feel free to leave a comment below so I can make future videos even better. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video.
I thought I had found the perfect online girlfriend. Every single day she spammed me with Big Brother messages. Her voice was insanely sweet. She was so adorable that I was completely hooked. We had already locked in our real-life meetup date. But before the big day, my bro NPC invited me over to his house. That was what actually met the person he always complained about. His ultra-rebellious cousin. The girl had silver white hair. And an expression that screamed superiority. Just looking at her made normal people back away. Then I accidentally bumped into her. And sent her phone flying to the floor. She frowned immediately. "Old man, are you blind or what? I already have a boyfriend." While apologizing, I bent down to pick up her phone. And that's when I saw a chat log that looked way too familiar. My sweet online girlfriend was actually this girl. My entire screen went black like I had just suffered critical damage. Then my own phone vibrated again. I didn't even need to check who it was. The first thing waiting for me was a voice message. Soft and clingy, with a deliberately drawn-out ending. The sugar level was completely broken. Then came another transfer packed with love points, including a 1,314 yuan transfer. I grinned like a Sigma Chad and replied that I loved her too. But I told her to keep the money. She instantly rejected that idea and insisted on spending it on me. She even said that after we met, she wanted to buy me a motorcycle and a luxury watch. That combo attack hit me for maximum damage, so I countered with a transfer of 9,999. And wished for us to stay together forever. Even my bro NPC said I had won the relationship lottery. He couldn't understand where I found a girl like that. Sweet. Cute. And constantly calling me Big Brother. She practically wanted the whole world to know she liked me. Honestly, talking with her made me feel 10 years younger. Every day felt like paradise. One notification was enough to fill my head with pink clouds. I seriously liked her way too much. I kept imagining what she looked like behind the screen. I pictured a long-haired beauty, wearing a white dress, with a pure and innocent smile. We scheduled our meetup for next Monday. I even planned my hairstyle and rehearsed my outfit hundreds of times in my head. It had been years since I felt this excited and nervous at the same time. Then she sent another message saying we were about to meet. And that she was really nervous. She warned me that her real-life self might be different. And told me not to be scared. But she was still the same person, and whatever type 1 liked. She was willing to become it for me. Ironically, she sounded way more nervous than I was, which actually helped me relax. Then the day before our meetup arrived, my bro NPC called and invited me over for dinner. His parents wanted to see me, and he figured it would help me chill before the big day. Then he lowered his voice and reminded me of something. His demon cousin was staying at his house. A college freshman on vacation. While changing clothes, I asked what the problem was. And he immediately started ranting. Her family was rich and powerful beyond belief. Completely spoiled. Silver hair. A lip piercing. And an attitude that could start boss fights. She operated on a level normal NPCs couldn't understand. I just laughed. After all, it was only dinner. How bad could it possibly be? Then he mentioned something even stranger. She had stopped going out recently. Instead, she stayed glued to her phone. Like she had been cursed. Soon I arrived. His parents welcomed me warmly. The food was incredible. The atmosphere was perfect. Then halfway through dinner, the front door opened. I instinctively looked over and saw a final boss walk into the room. Leather skirt, endless legs. Aura on maximum. Silver white hair. A shining lip piercing. And a black and red biker outfit. Every detail was an absolute flex. Her expression stayed cold. Her jawline was sharp. Cool and intimidating. The type that would make younger guys lose their minds. But for me and my buddy, our first instinct was self-preservation. My friend kicked me under the table. His lips silently said, "See?" I nodded in complete agreement. She was too stylish for my survival stats. Surprisingly, despite looking rebellious, she actually had manners. Her eyes swept across the room. Then she gave us a simple nod, no extra emotion. She greeted the elders politely and sat down for dinner. Honestly, that surprised me, because she wasn't causing any chaos at all. Meanwhile, my friend's mother smiled constantly and kept putting food on her plate, telling her to eat more and asking whether racing had tired her out. She simply answered, in a softer voice, and honestly, her voice sounded nice. But I shook my head immediately. No way it could compare to my sweet online angel. That girl could say goodnight with enough sweetness to break reality itself. After dinner, my buddy rushed off to prepare the swimming pool. Apparently everyone wanted a swim, but I wasn't interested. His mother suggested I walk through the garden instead. The lights looked beautiful at night. So I casually wandered outside. The evening air felt refreshing. I found a bench and sat down. The first thing I did was pull out my phone. And sure enough, my sweet online angel had flooded my inbox. Had I finished dinner? Did I miss her? There were cat stickers and lonely messages everywhere. She wanted me to keep her company. My heart instantly melted. So I replied right away. I told her I had just finished dinner. And of course I missed her. She replied instantly, saying she missed me just as much. Apparently she couldn't even sleep. Then another 1,314 transfer dropped into my account out of nowhere. The note said, "Buy yourself a late night snack, big brother." I laughed and started typing back. What if I get fat from eating all this? What if you stop liking me? Meanwhile, I was grinning like an idiot. I was completely drowning in the sweet atmosphere. My face was starting to feel hot. I got up and wandered down a garden path. My fingers flew across the screen. I kept sharing funny things from the evening. Of course, I skipped the cousin incident entirely. As I passed a wall of blooming flowers, a small figure suddenly rushed out from behind a rock garden. I had no time to react. The girl crashed straight into my chest. She carried a faint sweet scent, mixed with the cool breeze of the night. I panicked and tried to step away, but accidentally brushed somewhere I definitely shouldn't have. An extremely annoyed voice came from my arms. I instantly felt embarrassed. When I stepped backward, I accidentally knocked her phone away too. It hit the ground with a loud smack. I immediately started apologizing. "Sorry, I didn't know anyone was here. Are you okay?" The streetlight above revealed a beautiful but icy face, and a head of striking white hair. It was the cousin princess herself. Her brows twisted together. The annoyance on her face wasn't hidden at all. She immediately took a step backward, creating distance between us, like I was some kind of virus. Her eyes swept over me coldly, and her voice carried pure sarcasm and suspicion. "Watch where you're going, mister." I froze for a second, before I could respond. She hit me with another line. It felt like a bucket of ice water. "And keep your hands to yourself. I already have a boyfriend." My brain completely short-circuited. The audacity of that statement sent my blood pressure sky high. Steal her from her boyfriend. The whole thing was absolutely ridiculous. But the last bit of rationality stopped me. I swallowed my anger. She was just a young girl. No point arguing. I forced myself to calm down, keeping my voice steady. "I'm really sorry. It wasn't intentional. Your phone ... I bent down to pick it up. The screen was still on in the grass, and still unlocked. The chat window was open. My pupils instantly shrank. That familiar profile picture, the cute cat avatar I'd seen countless times. The messages were unmistakable. "Dear Big Brother." My hand froze in midair. Time itself seemed to stop. Holding that cold phone, I slowly looked up at the annoyed girl standing in front of me. The small lip piercing reflected the streetlight. My suffering doubled. The clingy online sweetheart. The one sending voice notes and money every day. The one I was meeting tomorrow. My sweet online girl was actually her. My vision nearly went black. I sat by the pool, trying desperately to look normal. Then my buddy walked over. "What's wrong with you tonight? You look completely distracted." "Nothing. Just tired." I forced a calm smile. No way could I let anyone know that my adorable online girlfriend was actually his cousin. If that got out, my social life was finished. I grabbed my phone from the poolside. The second it unlocked, the notifications exploded. Good grief. Dozens of unread messages from my online sweetheart. I opened the latest voice messages. "Big brother, please talk to me. I'm sorry. I really am. Just reply once. Just one message." Above that was an entire apology essay. "Someone bumped into me tonight. I accidentally made physical contact. Please believe me. Why aren't you replying? Do you think I'm dirty now? I'm sorry. I won't let anyone touch me again. Please don't leave me." I stared at the endless messages. My emotions were a complete mess. Part angry, part speechless, and somehow a little touched. Online she called me Big Brother. Offline she treated me like a random NPC. What a two-faced little gremlin. Fine, time for a Sigma Chad counterattack. A mischievous idea suddenly appeared in my head. She'd always asked for selfies, and I'd always refused. I took a deep breath and turned around, looking toward my photographer buddy. "Can you take a few pictures of me?" The cool kind. His eyes instantly lit up. "Wait right there." He ran off and came back with a camera and a bunch of accessories. "What is all this stuff?" I stared at it in confusion. He looked offended by the question. "Trust me and put it on. This will dominate your online dating game." I hesitated. Maybe this was too much, but he insisted I was wasting my potential. Eventually I gave in. Then I looked into the mirror and immediately froze. My face turned red. Not gonna lie, the result was ridiculously eye-catching. It made the overall look stand out a lot more. Then I remembered the white-haired Ice Queen. I gritted my teeth. My photographer bro let out a loud whistle. The guy looked both impressed and jealous. "Dang, how did you build such a solid physique?" He gave my shoulder a firm pat. Clearly he approved. "Your online friend is lucky." I laughed awkwardly and said nothing. If he knew who that person really was, he definitely wouldn't be saying that. Thanks to his impressive photography skills, we quickly produced a set of professional-looking photos. I picked the best one from the batch, then cropped out my face. A mischievous idea crossed my mind. I opened our chat window and hit send. I wondered how the Ice Queen would react, especially after acting so cold earlier. I stared at my phone. My heartbeat sped up. Part of me was excited to see if the prank worked. But minute after minute passed. The screen only showed typing ... Yet no message ever arrived. Just as I was about to lose patience waiting for a reply, a phone suddenly rang. My photographer bro casually put it on speaker. "Mom, what's wrong? We were just swimming." The voice on the other end sounded completely panicked. She was practically on the verge of tears. "Come downstairs right now. Something happened." My friend immediately sat up straight. "Slow down, what happened?" "Your cousin suddenly got a nosebleed. It's pouring out. We can't stop it. We've already used several packs of tissues. It's terrifying. Come take a look." My friend and I exchanged a glance. Both of us instantly knew this was serious. We threw on our robes and rushed downstairs. The living room was complete chaos. Tissue boxes were everywhere. Everyone was crowding around the Ice Queen. Someone was even trying to cool her down with an ice pack. Several blood-stained tissues were scattered across the floor. The scene looked way more dramatic than expected. Meanwhile, the Ice Queen herself was leaning against the sofa with her head tilted back. tissues stuffed in her nose were already turning red. She looked absolutely miserable, like her soul had left the game. When someone asked how she felt, she answered through a blocked nose, "I'm fine. Leave me alone." Nobody was buying that excuse. She had lost way too much blood. Then someone touched her forehead. "Why are you so hot? Get the car ready. We should go to the hospital." "No." The Ice Queen reacted instantly. She shot upright on the sofa. Unfortunately, that almost triggered another wave of nosebleeds. She quickly leaned back again. "I'm really okay. I just got overheated. Some cold water will fix it." Then my friend suddenly had an idea. Maybe mom's been feeding her too well lately. Young people have too much energy. He paused for a second. Or maybe you've been looking at weird stuff online. The Ice Queen immediately exploded. What nonsense! It wasn't anything weird. Her face turned bright red. She struggled to explain herself. Then she accidentally revealed the truth. Apparently my gym photo was the culprit. I nearly choked. My emotions became complicated, part guilty, part amused. No way this was actually happening. One harmless fitness photo had apparently caused a full-scale disaster. The family spent nearly half an hour dealing with it. Eventually everything calmed down. The adults were still worried. They made her drink a huge cup of herbal tea. Only then was she allowed to return to her room. At last, the chaos finally ended. My friend also relaxed. Then pushed me upstairs. "Go rest, everything's fine. Get some sleep." Back in the guest room, I stepped onto the balcony and checked my phone. A flood of notifications immediately appeared. I already knew who sent them. "Big bro, I didn't ignore you on purpose. Something unexpected happened. I had to deal with it." Then came a series of apology stickers and compliments about my workout progress. The messages just kept coming. Even more animated stickers followed. I sat alone on the balcony chair. The night breeze felt cool, but it couldn't calm my thoughts. After thinking for a long time, I decided to end this once and for all. We should stop talking. I don't think this is going to work. The moment I hit send, I immediately blocked the account. Honestly, I felt like the villain. Online friendships were fun. Reality was another story. The situation was simply too complicated, and the difference between her online and offline personalities was unreal. The more I thought about it, the worse it seemed. Finally, everything went quiet, yet my heart felt strangely empty. Then a loud crash suddenly came from the room next door. Something had clearly fallen over. A muffled sound followed. Then came broken sobs. Barely audible at first. My expression changed. I recognized that voice. The balconies were connected. Her room was right next to mine. The crying only grew louder. Soon it turned into full-on heartbreak. "How can you end things so suddenly? Everything was fine this afternoon. We were supposed to meet tomorrow. My happiness is gone. How could you be so cruel?" She cried like someone completely lost. The Yandere Ice Queen was completely falling apart. Her voice was a mess, filled with confusion and the pain of being abandoned. Every sob drifted through the balcony and drilled straight into my ears. And unfortunately, it started attacking my conscience. She looked way too pitiful for me to ignore. In the end, I couldn't just sit there anymore. I quietly walked toward the balcony like a stealth game protagonist. The balcony door on her side was still open. Carefully, I peeked over. And what I saw completely stunned me. She was sitting on the floor, her head buried between her knees, her shoulders trembling nonstop. I hesitated for a moment, then finally spoke. The second she heard me, she spun around like a startled cat. Under the light, her eyes were bright red. Fresh tear marks still covered her face. Even her silver hair seemed to lose its shine. She looked exhausted, vulnerable, and broken. Nothing like the arrogant Ice Queen who had been flexing all day. "What are you doing here?" She wiped her face and frowned, trying her best to stay composed. But her stuffed-up voice exposed everything. I awkwardly explained that I heard crying and came to check on her. Then I asked if she was okay. She immediately denied it, though her voice was packed with frustration. A sob slipped out before she could stop it. "It's just a breakup. Don't worry about me." I let out a sigh and tried to comfort her. Maybe her boyfriend had some kind of reason. Or maybe he was actually a terrible person, someone who didn't deserve her. Honestly, I was just saying random NPC dialogue at that point. She immediately glared at me with red eyes, like a cat whose tail had just been stepped on. "Don't talk bad about him. He's the best person in the world. He's not a bad guy. He's kind and thoughtful. He always sends me ... Suddenly, she froze. Her face turned bright red. Then she stubbornly shouted that he was simply the best. "You don't know anything. Who do you think you are? Just leave me alone." That actually made me angry. I was already miserable from the breakup, and before my brain could stop me, I fired back. "Yeah, then I never should have broken up with you. I should have just kept fooling you." The second those words left my mouth, the entire room went silent. She stared at me blankly, like her brain had completely stopped processing. Meanwhile, I realized what I'd said, and instantly wanted to uninstall my taunt. Her eyes widened to ridiculous proportions. Her mouth slowly fell open, big enough to fit an entire egg. Shock crossed her face first, then confusion, then sudden realization, and finally absolute existential horror. Her trembling finger pointed at me. Her voice barely escaped her throat, completely out of tune. It's you." The moment she figured it out, I knew I was cooked. Before she could fully recover from the revelation, I activated max movement speed and sprinted back into my room. I slammed the balcony door shut, even locked it with shaking hands, my back pressed tightly against the cold door. I could hear my heart trying to break through my ribs. It felt like it was about to jump straight out of my throat. The neighboring balcony fell completely silent. A long time passed before I heard anything. Just one tiny sound filled with pure disbelief. Needless to say, I didn't sleep at all. The next morning arrived. I showed up with massive dark circles and slowly dragged myself downstairs for breakfast. My aunt, uncle, and cousin were already in the dining room. The one sight made my scalp go numb. The Yandere Ice Queen was there too. Seriously, wasn't she supposed to sleep until noon every day? She kept her head lower, slowly stirring the porridge in her bowl. Even her normally dazzling silver hair looked droopy, like it had lost all energy. The moment she heard me arrive, she instantly looked up, Her eyes were swollen and red, like a sad little rabbit. When she saw me, her expression became unbelievably complicated. Embarrassment, grievance, confusion, panic. She quickly lowered her head, but her ears turned bright red. I forced myself to act normal and sat down, greeting everyone at the table. Yet I could still feel it. Her gaze. Every time nobody was paying attention, she would secretly sneak a glance at me, then immediately look away again. My cousin noticed everything. She looked at me, then at the suspiciously quiet Ice Queen, and burst out laughing. "What happened to you two? One of you looks like you haven't slept, and the other looks like she cried all night. Seriously, people might think you got dumped together." I nearly sprayed milk across the table. The Ice Queen stiffened immediately. The resentment around her became even stronger. But my cousin completely missed the atmosphere and casually asked another question. "Weren't you meeting your online girlfriend today? When are you leaving?" My scalp instantly and numb again. I could practically feel laser sights locking onto me. The pressure was unreal. I forced myself to answer, my voice getting smaller and smaller. "We broke up last night." Clang! The spoon in her hand crashed loudly against the bowl. She immediately stared at me, her eyes filled with disbelief and outrage, as if she wanted to scream at me. "You're the one who dumped me." Her eyes became even redder, like someone carrying an enormous grievance all alone. A victim who couldn't even tell anyone the truth. I avoided her gaze out of pure guilt, feeling more uncomfortable by the second. Meanwhile, my cousin noticed absolutely nothing. Not the tension, not the eye contact. She simply threw an arm around my shoulder. "Forget it, bro. A trash girl like that isn't worth it." My cousin immediately declared that he'd take me somewhere fun to recover. The moment he finished speaking, the Yandere Ice Queen suddenly spoke in a cold voice, "I'm coming too." Everyone froze. She turned her head away and refused to look at me. But her tone was absolutely firm. I said, "I'm coming." Our driver was a friendly middle-aged uncle. He greeted the three of us with a smile. Meanwhile, the Ice Queen immediately rushed to the rear door and claimed the back seat first. "I'm sitting here." My cousin frowned. Then she pointed at me. "You sit in front. I don't want him beside me. I don't want to sit beside you either." She turned toward the window dramatically. Her voice sounded muffled. "You sit in front." My cousin looked ready to drag her out himself. But seeing how exhausted she looked, he finally gave up. Fine, princess." Then he glanced at me awkwardly. "You don't mind sitting with her, right? She's usually pretty troublesome." I shook my head and said it was fine. My cousin moved to the passenger seat. Then I opened the rear door, looking at that silver-haired girl pretending to be upset. I instantly felt a headache coming. This was definitely a boss battle. I climbed in anyway and glued myself to the opposite door, creating as much distance as possible. She glanced over casually at the massive gap between us. Her lips instantly pressed tighter. The atmosphere around her dropped several degrees in real time. She turned away and stared even harder out the window, leaving me with nothing but the back of her head. Soon the scenery outside started moving. My cousin turned on some energetic music. The lively melody filled the car. But it couldn't melt the awkward silence between us. I stared at the passing streets outside and slowly got sleepy. My eyelids became heavier and heavier. Then suddenly I felt warmth on the back of my hand. A soft little hand cautiously reached over, testing the waters, and gently hooked one of my fingers. I immediately woke up. Looking down, I saw her hand. My first instinct was to pull away, but she tightened her grip instantly. Her fingertips trembled slightly, yet she stubbornly held on, refusing to let me escape. She looked incredibly nervous. Her warm palm was even slightly sweaty. I turned to look at her in surprise. Her eyes stayed locked on our joined hands. That expression looked exactly like a puppy that had finally found its owner again, but was terrified of being abandoned twice. Stubborn and heartbroken, and a little helpless. Honestly, my chest tightened at the sight. A strange warmth spread through me, and my resistance quietly disappeared. I gently squeezed her fingers. Her whole body jolted, like she'd just been hit by a tiny electric shock. Then her cheeks turned bright red at an incredible speed. Even her neck wasn't spared. It was as if she'd received permission to continue. Little by little, she carefully scooted closer to me. The seat creaked softly, and her faint fragrance slowly drifted into my space. She leaned toward my ear, warm breath brushing against my skin. Her voice was soft, filled with obvious guilt and pleading. Then she whispered, exactly the same way she used to online. Sweet and unbelievably gentle. And now, that beautiful face was only inches away. The damage multiplier was absolutely broken. My heart skipped several beats in a row. Even my ears felt hot. I forced myself to look away, pretending to focus on the scenery outside. But she refused to give up. Since I hadn't rejected her directly, she boldly moved even closer. Brother. Then another softer call, each one sweeter than the last. Like melted candy. Dangerously effective. Eventually I turned around and looked at her, planning to tell her to behave. But the second our eyes met, her eyes lit up instantly. Not only did she show no fear, she became even bolder. Her fingers slipped between mine and locked our hands together completely. I blinked once, then silently mouthed a correction. Not brother. Her eyes immediately became watery again. She bit her lower lip, a trace of tears entering her voice. I'm sorry. If you're angry, then scold me. Punish me however you want. Just don't break up with me. She genuinely looked pitiful. My voice softened without me noticing. There was even a hint of affection hidden inside it. You little crybaby. I still didn't forgive her, but I also didn't pull my hand away. Her eyes instantly brightened, like she'd just seen hope. She opened her mouth to say more, but my cousin in the front seat finally noticed something strange behind him. He suddenly turned around, frowning hard at the girl practically glued to my side. "There are plenty of seats back there. Why are you sitting so close to him? Don't you know basic personal space? Sit properly." She immediately stiffened like a kid caught cheating, then reluctantly moved back to her spot. Even so, her eyes remained locked on me, full of longing and grievance. She kept staring at me like losing sight of me for even 1 second would be a disaster. The way she looked at me actually made my face heat up, so I closed my eyes and pretended to be asleep. Eventually, the car pulled up in front of a stylish bar. Apparently, this was my cousin's idea of relaxation. Not exactly what I had in mind, but here we were. The moment I pushed through the revolving door, smooth jazz drifted through the air, mixed with the faint scent of expensive alcohol. 5 people were already waiting in a booth. 3 girls and 2 guys waved at us with bright smiles. I paused and glanced toward my cousin. He immediately leaned closer with a grin. "Well, see if any of those 3 girls catch your eye. They're all my friends. They're good people too. Trust me, the best cure for a breakup is a new romance." The second he said that, I sensed incoming disaster. Before I could react, I felt a murderous gaze drilling into my back. I didn't even need to turn around. My Yandere Ice Queen's mood had instantly crashed. Her expression was dark enough to summon a boss fight. My cousin dragged me over and introduced everyone. The 3 girls and the 2 guys all seemed friendly enough. The atmosphere was relaxed. One of the girls smiled warmly at me. Then she offered her hand. "It's nice to finally meet you." I reached out automatically, ready to shake her hand. But suddenly, a pale hand shot past me. It moved faster than mine, and grabbed her hand first. The culprit, of course, was my Yandere Ice Queen. The girl's smile instantly froze. She awkwardly returned the greeting. Then the Ice Queen repeated the move. She personally greeted the other 2 girls as well. The entire scene became painfully awkward. The 3 girls exchanged confused looks. Meanwhile, my cousin nearly rolled his eyes out of his skull. His expression practically screamed, "Are you serious?" The Ice Queen merely raised an eyebrow. "What? I just like meeting new people." "Is that a crime?" "Yet, sure. If jealousy had a physical form, it would have looked exactly like her right then." When everyone sat down, my cousin tried putting me beside the group. The Ice Queen instantly claimed the seat right next to me. She completely cut me off from every potential romance candidate. My cousin shot her several death stares to lighten the mood. Someone suggested a game of truth or dare. Honestly, it was a classic speedrun method for getting people closer. The first 2 rounds were pretty normal. People either answered harmless questions or completed goofy little dares. Nothing too crazy happened. Then came the 3rd round. The bottle spun slowly and stopped directly on the Ice Queen. She calmly chose truth. One of the guys seemed very interested, so he asked the question, "What kind of guy do you like?" Everyone immediately focused on her. Meanwhile, I quietly tensed up. The Ice Queen lowered her eyes. The bar lights reflected beautifully off her pale face. Then she answered casually. I like someone about 5 years older than me. About 6 feet tall, gentle, good-looking. Very kind. The group immediately started teasing her. That description was way too specific. Clearly she already had someone in mind. One person even muttered suspiciously, "Wait a second. Doesn't that sound exactly like him?" But his voice was drowned out. The crowd's reactions covered everything. Thankfully, nobody seemed to hear. One guy's expression visibly fell in disappointment. I quickly grabbed my drink, anything to hide the panic flashing across my face. As the night continued, the atmosphere became increasingly lively. Then the bottle spun again. It wobbled slightly and stopped directly in front of me. Seriously? My cousin instantly got excited. Truth is boring. If you're playing, go big. Take dare. Against my better judgment, I pulled a card from the dare pile. Then I read it, and my soul practically left my body. Kiss the person sitting to your right for 1 minute. The person on my right was the Ice Queen. My eyes widened instantly. She had obviously read the card too. Her ears immediately turned red, and the blush spread fast. My cousin panicked harder than I did. He jumped to his feet. Nope. Absolutely not. Only now did he realize his own game might accidentally create a romance route. Another friend quickly tried smoothing things over. Yeah, maybe not. This one's a little much. She's still young. There should be limits. But then the Ice Queen spoke up. Why doesn't it count? If we're playing, then play properly. The entire booth fell silent. Every single pair of eyes landed on us. There was no escape route anymore. I took a deep breath, then made my decision. I turned toward her. She blinked nervously. Her eyes sparkled, full of anticipation, full of hope she couldn't hide. And she sat there waiting obediently. The crowd started counting down excitedly. My lips finally touched hers. They were unbelievably soft, warm and delicate, way too easy to get distracted by. But then, I felt a sharp cold sensation against my lips. Her lip piercing. I frowned instinctively. Just a tiny reaction. But the Ice Queen noticed it immediately. Without the slightest hesitation, she removed the piercing and tossed it away, even though she had loved that thing before. The craziest part was that she looked more upset about almost hurting me than anything else. The next second, she wrapped her arms around my neck. There was no hesitation in her eyes, only determination. Then she closed the distance again, like she didn't want to waste a single second. That minute felt longer than an entire raid boss fight. And somehow it ended way too fast. When it was over, I honestly didn't know where to look. Meanwhile, the Ice Princess was blushing hard. Even her expression softened, yet her eyes never stopped following me. The emotions inside them were impossible to hide. As for my best friend, he just stared. The guy looked like his entire worldview had crashed. He opened his mouth, like he wanted to say something. But in the end, he just rubbed his eyes, clearly trying to convince himself he imagined everything. After all, this wasn't supposed to happen in his mind. By the time the gathering ended, my best friend was completely tipsy. So I carried him toward the parking lot, and he kept mumbling non-stop, blaming the Ice Princess for everything. The man was beyond saving. What made it funnier was the fact that the person he was complaining about was right beside us. Since the weather was getting worse, I ended up riding back with them. After settling my friend into his room, the exhaustion finally caught up with me. My head felt heavy. The family even prepared a hangover remedy. Then they said, "It's late, so just stay here tonight." Honestly, I couldn't argue with that. I looked out the window for a moment. Then I nodded. After washing up, I lay down in bed. But sleep refused to come. Everything that happened tonight kept replaying in my head like a movie montage. Especially the moment I couldn't stop thinking about. Then suddenly, I heard a faint sound from the balcony. A few seconds later, someone gently knocked on the door. I already knew who it was, so I pretended to be asleep. The outside went silent. Then a soft voice reached my ears. It sounded nervous, and far more vulnerable than usual. "I know you're still awake. Please open the door." I stayed silent. She seemed to lean against the door. Her voice grew softer, almost trembling. "It's cold out here, and the wind is strong. Please, just open it once. I only want to see you." Her careful pleading hit hard. Every word landed directly on my defenses. I imagined her standing outside, wearing only thin sleepwear, and that was where I lost the battle. I threw off the blanket and walked to the balcony. After a brief hesitation, I unlocked the door. The instant there was an opening, she rushed in and immediately buried herself against me. Like she'd finally found a safe place. She refused to let go. Her arms tightened around me, as if I might disappear at any moment. Before I could even react, she grabbed my attention completely. I called her name in surprise, but she wasn't listening. Not anymore. Her determination was obvious. There was no strategy involved, only pure emotion. Like a fierce little predator chasing its target. I couldn't help sighing, because resistance was becoming impossible. My resolve was already crumbling. The atmosphere changed completely, and so did my heartbeat. I could feel my face heating up after standing there for so long. I tried to straighten up, but she immediately panicked. So I pulled her closer instead, and she practically refused to leave my side. I don't know how much time passed, but eventually we both calmed down. Her face was completely flushed, yet she looked unbelievably happy. Meanwhile, I was fighting for self-control. This situation was getting dangerous. But she still wouldn't let me go. Not even a little. The room was lit only by a dim bedside lamp. Its glow outlined her profile, making her look unreal. She rested her head against my shoulder and spoke in a small voice. "Please stop torturing me like this. I can't take it. If you keep ignoring me, I'm going to lose my mind." Then she looked up. Her eyes were overflowing with emotion. And then she reminded me. "You made the first move tonight. You can't pretend it never happened. Give me an answer already. Don't leave me hanging anymore. I'm begging you." This little menace invaded my room at midnight and somehow acted like the victim. Like a tiny abandoned kitten. The funny thing was, my complicated feelings suddenly vanished. I actually laughed out loud. She froze immediately, then stared at me seriously, as if waiting for a final verdict. I raised my hand and lightly tapped her forehead. "You silly girl." She instantly melted. Like all the strength left her body. "I love you." I held her gently as she spoke. But then I reminded her. "It's getting late." She immediately shook her head and called for me again. The look she gave me was like a pet begging for attention. Excited but trying to behave. So all she could do was silently show exactly how much she cared. And honestly, it was devastatingly effective. My entire body tensed instantly. Even my breathing became uneven. I immediately warned her. "No, you need to go back," but she ignored the command completely. The little menace was determined to win. Then she hit me with an ultimatum. One that nearly broke my composure. I clenched my teeth and made it very clear that crossing that line was not an option. The next thing I knew, sunlight was shining through the curtains. I slowly woke up from my sleep. The first thing I noticed was the weight on my chest. Looking down, I saw a silver-haired head, comfortably resting against me. She was sleeping peacefully. Her breathing was calm and steady. One arm was still wrapped around my waist. My heart instantly softened. I couldn't resist kissing her forehead. She seemed to notice the movement and unconsciously snuggled closer, looking completely content. "Snowflake." She slowly lifted her head at my call. Her eyes were still sleepy and adorable. I gently rubbed her hair. It was unbelievably soft. "I love you." Without hesitation, she returned the words immediately. Later that morning, everyone gathered for breakfast. My best friend rubbed his temples. The hangover was clearly still active. Then he looked at us and remembered last night, instantly getting annoyed again. He pointed at the Ice Princess. I was trying to help him meet someone. "And you ruined the whole plan." "I'll just find another candidate today." The Ice Princess immediately let out a cold laugh. A smug expression appeared. The kind of smile that screamed victory. She raised an eyebrow, then grabbed my hand under the table. Before I knew it, our fingers were tightly intertwined. And she lifted them up, right onto the table. Everyone immediately noticed. The entire dining room fell silent. My best friend's eyes nearly popped out. His mouth hung open, his gaze bounced between our hands. And her ridiculously proud face. The guy looked completely broken. Meanwhile, she lifted her chin, like a lion finally claiming its territory. Then she proudly announced, "Stop looking for other people. There's no need. I'm the online crush he's been talking to. We're together. And one day, we're getting married." My best friend froze for a full 5 seconds. Then he exploded. "What? Are you serious? When did this happen?" "You two actually." But while he was losing his mind, the two elders remained calm. Suspiciously calm, actually. Her father merely glanced over his newspaper, as if this was ordinary news. Then he returned to reading. Her mother calmly sipped her tea, without the slightest surprise. Just a knowing smile, like she had already predicted everything. Seeing their reactions, my best friend completely malfunctioned. "Mom, Dad, why aren't you shocked? Did you already know?" Her mother put down her cup, then looked at him with sympathy, and said gently, "My dear child, you've always been a little slow. Your father and I figured it out yesterday morning." The way she looked at him was practically a confession already. It wasn't difficult to guess. That statement dealt critical damage. My best friend turned toward me, then immediately lunged across the table. "You traitor, you hid this from me. For this long. I was the only clueless NPC. I'm definitely getting revenge." I started laughing, but the Ice Princess moved faster. She stepped in front of me immediately. "Come at me instead. Leave my boyfriend alone." I peeked out from behind her, looking at my furious friend. I couldn't stop smiling. Then I raised both hands. All right, my bad." Sunlight filled the dining room. Birds chirped outside the window, mixed together with my friend's complaints and the laughter of the family. All of it blended into the happiest 10 most unforgettable morning of my life.